I'm a chameleon here.
I have half the brain that you do.
I did it for The Rock.
Oh my God!
The Most Crucial Podcast presents Crucial Squared Circle, the most crucial wrestling podcast with Mark Franchise and Davison Sarai.
A little bit of the bubbly. And that's the bottom line. The Stone Cold said so.
All right, welcome back to the Crucial Squared Circle, 104.9 The Edge. Your dude, Mark Franchise here with my lovely co-host as well, Davison Sarai.
Hey, I'm back in my first position, Franchise.
There you go, you got the title, and good buddy T.
Hey there, hi there, ho there, hello.
Indeed, and we're back in the game. If you can subscribe, 1049theedge.com. Check out our YouTube page as well. We've got all the podcasts up there. Whether it's Most Crucial Podcast or the Crucial Squared Circle, whatever you're doing, we appreciate you showing some love on the Facebook page as well, rocking shit out. Big things happening this weekend in the city of Kalamazoo that I'm freaking ready for because we've been talking about this. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Josh Raymond from the Independence Pro Wrestling that we apparently discovered is in Kalamazoo, and yet we had no idea.
And we call ourselves wrestling fans, and we're just like completely oblivious to the obvious. So I'm glad we're waking up to our supposed favorite hobby.
Realization is imminent, folks.
Indeed. And not only is Josh Raymond joining us in the studio.
Yeah, so you just kind of told me I do a really crappy job as a promoter. Thanks. No, it's one of those things. It is what it is.
Well, that was the funny thing, too, is because, like I said, we had no idea that there was even anything going on. But I wouldn't say crappy because we found out.
I don't think you're helping at all. Like, you're not necessarily digging a hole, but you're not digging yourself out of it either.
Well, we weren't looking. We weren't looking in the right places.
No, it's all good. We had a show in September, October, and November. We took December off. We're back here in January.
Yeah, I'm ready for it. Now, what's the title of this event that's coming up tomorrow?
Tomorrow's show is called High Stakes. There's going to be a main event ladder match between myself, Josh Raymond, and Michiana champion Aaron O'Ryan.
Right, gonna lay the smack down his bitch ass. Now, the thing is, you guys were actually scrapping in the last event that you guys had at the Y Bar in Kalamazoo. He was talking mad shit.
Yeah, we've wrestled twice back in September and October. In this past November, we had a 5-on-5 match. Me, my student Terry Van Avery, the Monroes, and Alex Shelley versus the DTA, which is the Death Red Army, which is his group. And Orion's the leader of that. He had Tommy Vendetta, Jack Price, Isaiah Bronner, and Alex Weir with him.
Yeah, it was intense. Actually, that whole event, not the whole event, but the whole match, actually I found on YouTube. Excellent match and absolutely set up perfectly for this event. And when we say tomorrow, it's actually today.
Yes.
Because it's happening Saturday night, the 11th, at the Y Bar in Kalamazoo. And we're going to get into not only what we can expect to see tonight, but also we've got some of the wrestlers that are a part of IPW going to give their background because, like I said, we've got a lot of Michigan wrestling heritage here, and that's kind of what we want to get into. We want to know who these people are, where they came from, where they trained, who they are as wrestlers as well, because I feel like this is something we're going to make ourselves more a part of going into the future.
Absolutely. I'd like to echo the sentiments of Mark a moment there. When it comes down to folks that we're interested in talking to, it's all about that genuine and also appreciation of the art. I mean, wrestling is an art, and you got to maintain that integrity of it. So through and through, we're very much interested in meeting these folks.
It's going to be a fun show. Like I said, we've been looking forward to this, and we got the details, obviously, all up in this blog that you can check out. Links right back to Facebook where you can buy tickets for the show. And like I said, we're going to get into all that coming up. We want to touch, before we get into full IPW mode, everything that's been happening the last couple of weeks. One thing I just thought about AEW when it came to the ratings for this past Wednesday, something that I thought was interesting. They were the 5th highest rated amongst persons, which I thought was pretty incredible considering there was only about a 300,000 space between them and NXT, but NXT didn't even show up in the top 50.
Right. No, yeah, so last time we were comparing numbers, and it looked like because of the weird holiday stuff, there may have just been a migration of 200 people from NXT over to, adding 200 to that standard 750 number that AEW's been averaging.
Yeah.
And we wondered, the week after the holidays, would that just kind of shift back to normal? And what it looks like is the number for AEW stayed almost the exact same. I think it dropped by maybe 10 or 20,000 people.
It's still like 937 or I don't even know the exact number.
But NXT went ahead and dropped 200 people right back down to that 540, 550 mark. So,
and again, it's not a slap to NXT or anything, because I honestly do like the product over there. But again, like I said, the wrestling fans page is going to be the freaking bane of my existence, because I think it's just like the biggest conglomeration of goobers that I've ever seen. Some kid went up and posted a video and just trashed AEW for being flippy dippy stupid crap, and it was literally a video of Billy Gunn taking a pin from Mini Orange Cassidy, this 5-year-old kid, off camera, taking a pinfall from this little kid, and this guy's like, "This is a bunch of stupid crap," and I was just like, dude.
So what was the guy comparing it to? What's not stupid crap? What's the smart crap?
It's just I think it's less of comparing and more of just wanting to shit on a brand that he doesn't like.
So you think it's still just an idea of people being plugged into that traditional thinking, though?
Exactly. And I tried explaining this as logically as possible, but the humanoids, because that's what they are. They
shout out Heenan.
Yeah, literally. It's very hard to have a civil conversation with any of these guys, because they're so, like I said, they're so defensive, and it's like that meme I sent you earlier, where it was 2 NXT female superstars, and it was a close-up of their asses, comparing the 2 asses to the 2 main products on Wednesday night on national television, and then dude straight up saying, "This has nothing to do with women."
Yeah, basically it played on that goofy trope of one of these butts is a little bit juicier than the other butts. And of course the juicy one was WWE or NXT or whatever the deal was.
Right.
We're not even going to bother talking about whose butts were which. I don't care about any of that. But.
Yeah, and it was the main point that there is a girl that's on that page, Claire, who's very vocal about, like, no bullshit. And she basically just called him straight out on it. And he's like, "This has nothing to do with that." And it's like, look at the underlying tones of what this joke is.
You know what? That's actually a perfect lead-in. So we keep touching on this whole, like, deniability bullshit and old-school wrestling mentality. The king of the shit stains himself, Jim Cornette. I hope there's nobody in this room who takes too much exception to that. I was really pleased. I just saw a thing he put out the other day. Was it in print, or did I listen to it? His whole thing of, wow, I'm quitting wrestling. These people are too sensitive. I can't say racist crap anymore and get away with it.
Yeah.
He swore up and down that it was wrestling's fault. I either heard or read, and I wish I could remember now, him basically stopping himself from saying something and going, "Whoop, I need to watch what I say these days." Gotcha. Thank you, Jim. That's all I wanted to hear.
Right.
You stupid motherfucker. You're actually listening, and you actually caught yourself for once. Congratulations. So what I wanted to get into was, no, it's not racist to talk about fried chicken, black people, and Ethiopia in one sentence. Hell no, that's a starvation joke at worst, right? Well, I think I sent you both that video this morning.
Yeah.
Of Pritchard talking to Conrad.
Yeah, that was something to wrestle with.
Something to wrestle with. And they're talking about that notorious angle. I think it was going into WrestleMania 19.
Yeah, 19.
Where Triple H was basically running down Booker T for months. And there was that one really famous interview where he just said on him a few times, "People like you don't get to be champion.
Yeah.
That's for people like me." And then he went on to say, you should just dance to entertain us. Clearly poking at, like, old tropes of, like, step and fetch type shit.
Oh, yeah.
He even talked about nappy hair. So here's what I do like. Conrad Thompson?
Yeah, it's Conrad Thompson.
Will actually say, okay, here's my question. Do you think that this was over the line? And Pritchard will go, "No, I don't know what you're talking about." Okay, let me state this one more time nicely. You don't think it was over the line to say these things? You don't think that was racist? No, when he said those people, he meant WCW people. That's what he meant. People like you who came into this company. Like, okay, what about the nappy hair part? Well, yeah, no, that wasn't in the writing. That shouldn't have happened. So you are saying it's a problem. Well, we didn't write it. And he's just moving the goalpost, moving the goalpost. He could never tie him down to just say, "Yeah, that was pretty fucked up, and we should have never done that."
Just call it like it is.
But he couldn't, and he wouldn't, and he got defensive, and he got mad. And I mean, you can just imagine, like, existing in the abusive family that Vince has created and all of his psychosis. Like, that's the kind of shit you see in small scales of, like, abusive families.
Yeah.
People start buying into nonsense. They start lying to each other and everybody else. trying to make things make sense.
I'm not going to get too personal, but I completely understand what you're saying right now.
Yeah. So,
I'm not going to get into it, but I know exactly what you're saying.
So to hear a guy who has successfully navigated that shark-infested water for all these years, he knows how to talk the shit. And it's interesting when you hear people do it outside of that context, like, no, dude, that doesn't make any sense.
Right.
But he'll keep selling it to you. So, yeah, I just found that real interesting.
Yeah. Well, another interesting thing that happened that didn't involve jabronis, Wrestle Kingdom, which was freaking amazing.
That's pretty good.
You know, like that bill was so stacked, and especially between night one and night two, just some phenomenal matches on that card. The junior heavyweight match is one that just really stuck out to me.
The first night with Ospreay and Takahashi.
Yeah,
that was pretty wild.
That was really back and forth. And that's again that theater. That's something that I really like about New Japan. Again, it's a completely different mindset. It's a completely different product than anything that's out there. And again, I think that maybe has to do with that it is Japan, that it's a completely different fan base. If you look at the audience, it's very different.
You know what? We have a great resource today. Josh, have you wrestled in Japan?
No.
No.
Japan's one of the few places I have not wrestled. I've wrestled in Europe and Mexico and all over North America, but I have not actually ever wrestled in Japan.
Yeah. You listed off a long list of people that you used to wrestle with and hang out with.
I have countless friends who wrestle there.
You got to have a pretty clear understanding. Like when Mark just said, you know, the big difference between product and audience. I don't know if I agree with that 100%, but what do you think?
It's definitely a different audience. It's definitely a different product. It's treated differently. It's treated like a sports there. You know, it's in the newspapers, the results. That doesn't happen here. You know?
Right.
It's very different in that sense.
I think Okada's supposed to carry something for the Olympics, for crying out loud, isn't he? Like,
that's awesome.
Like a big representative, yeah.
And that's a big deal, too. Like, it's just a little bit different over there. And, you know, again, it's America. Everything is just consumption. There's an overconsumption in America, which has led to the American wrestling fan.
Yeah. This is going to be a little bit boring for a second, but I promise it matters. At one of my jobs, we were talking to an occupational therapist about how to keep people's attention. Like I worked in a rehab facility for a while.
Yeah.
And basically he broke down like, you can't look at people's mental faculties anymore and just say it's either your fault or you're healthy. You live in this crazy society now.
Yeah.
And it's so oversaturated with so much input, instant, that when we give kids shit for being distractible, like we've made them that way.
Yeah.
This world made them that way. So like, as easy as it is to try to crap on millennials and then start crapping on Gen Z already, like that's also why they're smarter than all of us. Like the same reason people want to shit on them. Like, don't get it twisted. But so, I mean, clearly it would be silly to say that Tokyo, Japan is somehow not as go, fast paced as America. That's not the issue. But like Josh said, I think it's been so revered and like protected almost as part of the national identity. Where here it's always been kind of more like yuck, carny.
Yeah.
We'll acknowledge it, but with an elbow.
And you look back, and it's very similar. I feel like the closest you're going to get to really the ECW fans of old, not as rabid, but the fact that they're sitting there and they want to be entertained with the sport of wrestling, and they're going to sit there and they're going to watch the match and they're going to appreciate it. And the longer it goes on, and the better the storytelling through the action in the ring, the more the audience builds up their appreciation for what they're seeing. And there may not be posters everywhere, and there may not be, you know, these rabid fans, but that place was packed. The Tokyo Dome had almost 50,000 strong,
right? And
they were there for a reason.
Well, and you said it too. You know how obsessed I am with not just Ibushi and not just Omega, but with the Golden Lovers specifically.
Yeah.
You saw it when they had the reunion in that video when all those years had gone by and Ibushi tried to take Omega's hand. You wouldn't let him. Yep. He almost left the ring. You ran back. You forced him. They hugged. How many people did you see just openly weeping in the crowd? I mean, like...
Yeah, they were... That was an emotional... Not just for Ibushi and Omega, but just really the whole crowd. That was something they built up over years and years.
Right.
And it was years of people actually caring about that story.
And I'm trying to remember the last time... I mean, maybe it was when Daniel Bryan won both titles at Mania, but like that I've been that moved by something in wrestling. You know what I mean? And not just exciting and not just hard hitting and not just impressive athletic, but like it grabs your heart.
Yeah, the thing that's been grabbing my heart is the sadness that Lana has brought me.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm gonna throw that out there. My heart is broken.
Your heart. Talk to fucking Franchise's
Lana
high school
is the
girlfriend
best.
he left in the first place.
Lana's number one. But to throw it out there to tie into what you said a moment ago when it came down to everybody's being spastic when it comes down to their education and or interests and then having, momentary lapses in their ADD, ADHD. Referencing that, I would recommend taking a look at RSA Animate. They've got a thing all about that, RSA Animate, specifically talking about changing education paradigms. I'll say that again, changing education paradigms, and that's RSA Animate. The reason why I throw that out there is because it talks specifically about what you just said a moment ago, Davison, this idea that we have this change in standard or expectation of folks and then say, oh, you have to have a pay attention for this, or you have to read this, or you have to do cursive, but then you keep moving or the expectation or slapping the hand, and they don't meet your standard or your bar, but they're able to excel in other aspects. Albert Einstein said something along the lines of, if you measure a fish on how it can climb a tree and compared to whether it can swim, you will tell it whether or not it's a genius.
All right.
That whole logic applies to children. That whole logic applies to folks. So that's one thing I just want to throw out there.
God, some of the most creative people I know are the most spazzy.
I mean,
Like, hello, your brain is a million miles. We need that.
yeah,
It's that standardization. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, you've got to jump around sometimes to get the whole juices flowing. And I will also say that when it came down to this week, jumping back into the groove of all that wintery, I will say that it took me 3 days to jumpstart my engine to get going in this week. So I understand when it comes down to folks having ADD, ADHD, limited experiences. Jumping to another topic, the emotion. Crying. Holy shit, I cried my eyes out when Liger ended his first and second matches.
Aw.
Liger's first match with his fellow colleagues, his folks he'd been wrestling for, 30 years is his career right now?
Yeah.
My God, the man is just a legend. And watching those folks get teary-eyed and emotional and just grown-ass men feeling feelings, man.
Yeah.
The fuck?
Right. There were no cartoon characters, no stupid womp jokes.
Right.
Like-
and that's what, like I said, it blew me away when I watched that match from Nitro in '96, because they were like, oh, Jushin Thunder Liger's in his 13th year of professional wrestling, and he's like, he just had a tumor removed from his head 6 months prior. I'm like,
Jesus.
okay, what the trash, And that was in 1996.
Was that when you wrestled Pillman?
No, that was a match against Rey Mysterio Jr.
Oh, very cool.
on Monday Nitro. Great match, but
I've seen. I watched a little bit of Wrestle Kingdom. I saw Ospreay versus Hiromu, but that was the only one I think I've watched fully.
We had a theory. We all predicted that Ospreay was going to lose because we predict he's going to go the Omega route, pack on 20 pounds or so, and try to get up into the G1 and try to get to Kingdom either this year or the next.
Yeah, whatever.
But definitely a successful event. Like I said, I think it was. I think a lot of the results kind of took us by surprise a little bit. I don't think any of our predictions were spot on. But
No, I was miles away on that Moxley situation. We were so busy trying to figure out the working relationship between the two that we were convinced that if Jericho won, so would Moxley.
yeah,
So Jericho did win his match, but that means Tanahashi cannot get an AEW title match.
right, which is weird because we thought
kinda-
that stipulation was like, oh man, yeah, he's gonna
That should be big money.
right.
So that would suggest they closed the door, except that Moxley went 2-0, and now he's holding on to the United States title.
Yeah, and I think with what Jericho said after his match too, where he's like, this is nonsense. Like, these two companies need to drop the bullshit and just figure it out, figure out their differences, and because. Not just that there's big money, but, I think a lot of those guys have that mentality. It's like, the fact that they turned it into the WWE basically took a monopoly and a stranglehold over the world of professional wrestling. That thing had a shelf life, and I think it's becoming way more apparent now. And seeing these dream matches is what people want. Not necessarily about drawing money. I mean, at the end of the day, for them it is, but it's about being able to see these dream matchups and not being held down because, you can't have one company working with another one.
Right. That's why I think it's cool when they do stuff like StarCast in the same weekend or even at the same venue as shows.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think there should be any separation there. It's just like, we keep talking about music when we do this. Obviously, we're into music.
Yeah.
The idea of going to that show with those heavy-ass bands and there's only 20 people there. So let's get off the stage. Let's set the band up on the floor. Be on the level, That's what those cons feel like to me. I mean, clearly, it's still you're there to see the celebrity or the person performing. It's not
No doubt.
completely equal. But just being able to kind of participate on that level and have it be more interactive. to me, that's always going to be more of a draw. You know, mainstream music, mainstream art, mainstream wrestling, you name it. Like, give me the small scale stuff, please.
Speaking on that same note, I heard through the grapevine that you have a meet and greet happening a little bit before the show tomorrow.
We do. For those who get the VIP ticket, which is a front row ticket as well as VIP, you get it in early. You get in at 5:30, and you get a chance to mingle and get your picture taken with some of the wrestlers. You get a poster that you can get signed by different wrestlers and take pictures with them. It's a nice little 30-minute meet and greet with different IPW stars.
That's awesome. And that's a cool thing too, because like I said, you know, and it is a world of consumption, especially in the United States. And that's the beauty of independent wrestling, is you really are getting that intimate experience with people who are, and Josh, we haven't talked about this. Didn't you say somebody that was, that works with Independence Pro Wrestling got a call up this week?
Yes. One of our wrestlers who was scheduled to appear he's probably making his WWE debut right now down in Florida. Alex Shelley is doing a short-term contract there as he's doing the NXT Dusty Rhodes Classic.
Oh, he got back together with
Kushida.
There you go.
Please, I'm blanking on it. Kushida, yeah. So they are going to be tagging for that tag tournament, but he's also wrestling there tonight and tomorrow. So he will not be at IPW, unfortunately. But,
right. But
I understand that.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. But, like, that's the importance of saying that, is because you never know who's going to get the call up. And not only that, that's the beauty of IPW, is you're getting an experience that, it's on a grand scale, you're not getting anywhere near the action without, breaking the bank, literally. And you're going to get the same exact action for way less money and a way more intimate experience, and it's in our hometown.
Right. I don't know. I thought it was kind of cool, Josh, when we talked before. It sounded like, the idea of having people with a lot of experience and some vets to bring up some of the younger dudes and share experience.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a big part of running shows, is putting people who are inexperienced with people who are experienced in order to try to teach those younger wrestlers, those green kids, per se.
Right. Would you say that in every match people watch, I mean, not maybe when WWE hits, but, in things like the indies, would you say that almost every match you see has some element of that?
I wouldn't say almost every match. I would say probably some. A lot of guys in the independents who are at like AEW level, a lot of those guys have been wrestling for a long time and they wrestle each other in other places. So they're probably, when you're at that level, you're probably on like the same level in a lot of ways. Yeah. But of course, there's different levels to everything. So if, it's the Young Bucks versus Private Party, the Young Bucks are by far more experienced, but Private Parties, they're at a level that's pretty high. So I think they're still going to learn from the Young Bucks, but at the same time, they're kind of on the similar level.
Yeah, it's exciting to see those different matchups too, and that's another reason that I'm excited about. When we discovered that IPW was here in Kalamazoo, I was like, this is freaking sweet. Like it's something local you can invest in that's literally helping people survive. And on top of that, it's, we get these freaking companies and they're like, oh, we're coming to Kalamazoo. And then 2 days before the show, yeah, we're not coming anymore. It's like, sweet. Thanks for showing up. And it's, I don't know, it gets under my skin. Kalamazoo used to be a main stop for a lot of people, a lot of bands, a lot of performances. And then the 80s ended and people were like, no, we're only going to go to major markets. And it's like, and in the radio, again, okay, we've got these artists. They want us to play their music. Okay. But when they go and travel and they send nice things, they only send it to the people who are in the top markets. And it's like, well, where's our love? We're doing just as much. Yeah,
but isn't that called payola? Isn't that illegal?
No, it's just like, when you get someone. I'm not saying.
Did I just hear a radio personality say on a radio station that you want payola?
Like these bad boys that you see behind us, the Theater of the Mind. We've got platinum and gold records that were sent to the station back in the early 90s as a thank you for spinning their records.
I thought those were props for the show.
Yeah. These are made of chocolate. No, but like, it's just little tokens of appreciation. Like, hey, thanks for my career. Thanks for partaking in that. And that's the beauty of independent wrestling, and the beauty of Independence Pro Wrestling is that it's right here in Kalamazoo. You can literally just show up. It's like, what the hell else are you going to be doing on a Saturday night? Exactly. That's what I was waiting for. And it's going to be super dope. Like I said, I've been stoked on this show since we found out about it. I just saw that a friend was interested, and I was like, oh my God, what the hell? And then I went and looked at their prior events, and I'm like, shit, they've been here the last 3 months. And we had just started the podcast then. And I think everything just comes full circle like that. And that's why I'm really excited for the show, which we're going to get into in a couple of minutes here. We're going to talk to some of the wrestlers who are going to be there as well and plug the show. We got an event coming up in February next month. Hacksaw Jim Duggan coming to Shakespeare's Lower Level. Oh,
why? You know what? Hey, man, props where it's due.
Okay.
He's a cornerstone of the business. There is zero question.
Yes, but can I bring something up that I find really fucking funny?
I would hope so.
Okay, WrestleMania 3. He comes out there. Nikolai Volkov starts singing the Russian national anthem, and I kid you not, Hacksaw breaks that shit up, and he's like, "You're not gonna sing that in this country because this is the land of the free." And I was like, okay.
Yeah. And 93,000 people. Yeah, motherfucker.
Yeah, that's right. You can't sing that.
You're free.
Here in
Get
this
out of
country
here.
where you're free to sing that.
Yeah.
Derp. Yeah.
I made a little bit of a joke about it earlier. One of my absolute favorite Hacksaw-isms was the fact that he was feuding with the Iron Sheik.
Yes.
Mid-'80s, late 80s.
I hope you're saying what I think you're saying.
Of course, it was right. It was the day before they both got fired. Yeah. So they had one of the hottest feuds go. Well, quote unquote. It was pretty hot. It was lukewarm. So it's that angle though. It's the ultimate patriot against the ultimate enemy. They get pulled over on the expressway in a car together. It's just the two of them, and apparently it was just like any movie. You see, like spilled cocaine, like fucking open beer cans and shit.
Oh yeah, they both had an 8-ball and
yeah. And so here's the thing, though. I mean, obviously they both got canned, and I think they probably brought Hacksaw back in a short amount of time. Mm-hmm. Bill Watts, back in the day, down south, he was notorious for having certain rules like, you're wrestlers, you got to be tough. I don't give a shit if you go get in a fight at a bar. By all means, make sure you beat people up. That's good for the business.
Yeah.
If you ever lose, you're fired. Like, for real. Like, protect the business, right?
Right.
Love it.
There's something in that for me. Like, Hacksaw and the Sheik get hit with coke and open, beer cans, and like, of course, it hits the news. I think TMC probably grabbed it.
Right. Well,
and then everybody freaks out. They've exposed the business,
basically, because they were riding together.
Get the fuck out of here. That was it. What exposed the business?
Yeah, right.
That moment. Okay.
Hey, there's literal newscasts. There's literal newscasts that like talk about like they're supposed to be bitter enemies. Why are they riding in a car together?
Maybe it was like one of those middle school things where they kept fighting, so the principal shoved them in a room together for 10 minutes and said, "Figure it out."
Yeah.
Here's some coke.
There's a wrestler here who's in IPW. We're gonna bring in as well. Hype Shallwin. He looks like you.
Hey guys, what's going on?
What up?
Hype.
Yeah.
What did you have something to say about the Hacksaw thing?
It was related too about just wrestlers being awful people and beating people up. Everything. Don't forget the famous Vince quote about Jimmy Snuka. How when he had allegedly. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Murdered his girlfriend. And
we use pig Latin when we talk about murder in this room. Murdered man, that 80 line.
When the police tried to hold up Vince to get information, he said, "Look, if you think the press coming out that one of my wrestlers is a dangerous person is going to hurt my business, you don't understand what I do." That's the business I'm in.
Right.
I mean,
well, now this is the cool thing. And by the way, there's a box of cookies. If you guys want to dabble in, feel free. Because
I don't. Need to get into that. I steal shit from his desk every time I come in here.
Feel every piece of the jealousy in here. We have Hype Shallwin. He's going to be wrestling tomorrow at IPW, and it's going to be high stakes tomorrow. Now, tell us a little bit about yourself, because I just met you tonight for the first time. You said you're a native of this side of the state. You're from Portage, right?
Yeah, I live in the Kalamazoo area now. Originally from South Bend, Indiana. I've lived a little here and there, but I've been wrestling for 20 plus years now. It's 21 in a few weeks.
Wow.
So I'm old, and I don't get what you kids are doing these days, but no, I've been wrestling 21 years, having a great time doing it, hurting other people, hurting myself, and hopefully making people stand up and have fun.
Absolutely. That's what it's all about.
That is what it's about.
Where have you wrestled at before?
I have wrestled all over the Midwest, little Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and good old Michigan. Primarily based out of good old Michigan, I think.
Gotcha.
Around here.
Yeah.
I told Josh I had briefly worked a couple of times with the Detroit style wrestling for a couple events. My buddy Johnny Bad Wheels was the promoter over there, and we had kind of met in a bar as well, and that was my introduction to indie wrestling. So
I did one show for them.
Okay.
I didn't wrestle. I did a run in and choke slammed a guy, and
nice.
And then that was the only time I wrestled there or appeared there.
Right, you put his ass down.
I don't know what happened. Yeah, I was like, oh well, prove my point. I mean.
Now, where did you learn how to wrestle? Where did you train at?
Trained in 1999 in Holland, Michigan.
Nice.
Trained by El Tejano, Joe Ortega. He's same class as if anyone knows Jimmy Jacobs.
Oh wow!
He and I trained at the same time. He was an obnoxious 16-year-old. I was an obnoxious 19-year-old, and we were both obnoxious and became friends. He did much better than I in pro wrestling. I'm much more handsome.
Confirmed.
But just that's where I started out. Traveled all over, met a lot of good people, met a lot of friends, and had a whole lot of fun.
Awesome. How'd you get involved in independence?
So independence. I said, hey Josh Raymond, I see you have a show coming up here. Actually, I believe initially you contacted me. I missed a few of the fall shows, but I've wrestled for Josh's shows for a couple years now. We've done a few in other areas, Waterville, other promotions. Yeah, we've known each other since 2003, yeah, in that range. Traveled together a bunch, lived together for a while. Yeah. The old Wrestle House on Vine.
Where is that?
On Vine Street.
303 Vine Street?
No way.
303
Really?
Vine, yeah. It was Vine, yeah. Don't go there now. We don't live there now.
Right. Yeah, no doubt.
There's lots of security there
Might
now.
swing by there later tonight. I'm not making any promises.
There's some good stories from that.
Oh, there's some stories from that house.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a wild time.
Really?
Oh man, yeah.
Feel free to elaborate.
5 pro wrestlers living in a house, and
Oh yeah.
and, oh man, what stories can we tell?
Burial?
Oh, burial, yes, yeah. It was
Wait, you had a live burial?
burial. So I had we had a party. There was a lot of a keg left over, so I had to drink all that keg that week. That was the goal. So yeah,
Admirable.
Out of milk, let's make some burial. Just pour some cornflakes.
Oh my God.
Took a beer bath. Which there's pictures of. I'm wearing swim trunks for the
Got
pictures.
so drunk we painted your knuckles with a marker. I don't remember what it said.
I wasn't drunk then. I remember this.
And you got in front of a car. It was a police car.
It's a drug-free.
It's a drug-free. It's a
Yeah,
CM Punk.
yeah. And I stood in front of a police car parked, and we're just like, this cop's gonna come and just deck me. Like I'm clearly just being a jackass in front of this car.
The cop gave you the Fight Club nod, was like, fuck yeah, CM Punk.
There's a giant raccoon living in our attic for a period.
Shoot.
Yeah. So the highlight of Wrestler House, you get a bunch of maniacs living in a house together. We came up with the idea of having a house title. Defended 24/7.
Oh my God.
Legitimate pin and submission rules. So you could just be sitting there on watching TV, and someone would dive tackle you on the couch. The other guy would come in and count 1, 2, 3. Rear naked choke. Oh. Yeah. The all-time greatest battle was, I can't remember, you there for Bobby Bambino and Keith Cream?
No, I was there for when your teeth got knocked out.
Yes, my teeth got knocked out at one point. Was it you?
Me, you, and Keith.
Yes. It was a 3-way submission. We decided only to win by submission, and if you've ever... There's a reason they don't do 3-ways in MMA, because one guy will hold into a submission. You'll let your ankle break before you tap, because the other guy's going to catch a choke, and you're going to get out and have another chance.
Right.
You'll basically have to kill someone to win that. I eventually got my teeth knocked out in that. No, the highlight fight was the Bobby Bambino Keith Cream were going at it, where Keith was on his back going for a sleeper. Bambino was blocking it in the kitchen, and Keith then reached forward. It's hard to describe this. Reached forward, grabbed the freezer door, and opened it to his face.
Oh shit!
Repeatedly, and to try to knock him off of his feet or open up for a choke.
Steven Seagal style.
Yes, Keith got very into that title.
A little too real.
Keith was serious about the rest of us kind of thought it was funny. He passed out in the living room for the night, and you wake up to a note that you've lost the title. It was things like
right.
That. It was kind of fun, and then it got competitive. I think we discontinued at some point.
It did.
Yeah, it was for everyone's
For the
safety.
best interest of all.
Yeah. There were a few holes put in walls at different points.
That's hilarious. So is this going to be your first time wrestling in Kalamazoo, or
No,
have
no,
you been
I
here
was
before?
actually there back in November.
Okay, cool.
My opponent actually this time it's Jamie Cox. We had so I'm a 20-year vet. Jamie Cox is a few years on me, even I believe at least 22, 23 years probably.
Yeah, I
he's
think
been in.
so.
We had actually never wrestled one-on-one in that entire time, despite constantly being in the same circles. And then this previous summer, Watervliet, Michigan, IPW put us together for the first time. I came out victorious there. Rematch here in November, and Jamie Cox. We were having a fun little match, man. The crowd was rocking. We were having a good time, and then Jamie Cox hit the top rope, and it snapped.
Oh shit!
A rubber band, and my friend landed on his head, and it went crazy, man. I said, "The hell with it! I'm having a beer." So I grabbed a beer, chugged that. Jamie Cox came in. A handful of tights later, I had lost the match. I thought I killed the guy personally. I didn't know.
Right.
The match. So so Jamie Cox and I. This is the rubber match coming up.
Big time.
I'm gonna finish the job this time, maybe.
All right. That's going to be exciting. I'm actually...
Confidence, maybe.
Maybe. I mean, I really thought I killed him. I was scared. Oh my god, I killed a guy.
That's
That's
confident, probably.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to that
I
because
don't
I've
kill
actually...
him. I just want to introduce him to my four knuckles and thumb.
Right. Yeah, that's sweet.
Pause. You said four knuckles and thumb. Is it drug or free that you're going to be hitting?
That's right.
Yes,
That'd
drug.
be
Drug is the leader.
Is that a fist? Are we talking about fisting right now? Or are we talking about fighting? Fist fighting or fisting?
Both.
I mean,
Like four knuckles and a thumb sounds like something else.
Jamie Cox better watch himself because he can...
the way to find out is coming out to IPW Wrestling.
Yes. You'll find out tonight.
That's 20 years. You know how to hit the plug there. That's 20 years experience.
That's awesome. I've always enjoyed Jamie Cox's wrestling, and I've never seen him getting fisted by drugs before. So that'll be interesting. I am looking forward to that. Another
High
wrestler.
expectations being set.
Yeah.
If I don't see somebody being fisted with a handful of drugs at the
ages,
macaroni
all
bar,
ages.
All ages. But if you hear a fist him chant, I didn't start it.
run.
I'll be so excited.
Planting the seed, folks. Another wrestler
That's
who's...
another thing, I think.
What's that?
Planting the seed, that's a different thing.
We have Terry Van Avery, who is also in the studio with us. Dude, thanks for hanging out with us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, brother. So give a rundown, because your story is a little bit different than Hype Shallwin's, right?
Yeah, my story's different. For the record, I'm the general manager of the Y Bar, and we will not be having any fisting going on tomorrow. But
You heard it here, folks. Management has put a kibosh on that.
yeah, so I was a professional MMA fighter for 11 years,
Wow.
and then, like everything in life, you grow out of it. I grew out of it, and I kind of wanted to settle down and get a real job. I became a security guard at the Y Bar, and the general manager quit, and they needed to bump somebody up, and I was the one who got the job. And then my buddy Josh gets a hold of me and says, hey, we want to do some professional wrestling there. And I'm like, hey, professional wrestling? I used to watch that when I was younger. And we set it up. They had the first show there, and Aaron O'Ryan did some dirty stuff to Josh, and it looked like he was about to kill him.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to have anybody die at my bar, so I ran in there to try to save him. And,
Thank you.
and so, you know, Aaron got in my face. He didn't know that I used to fight back in my younger days.
Right.
So, I mean, he shoved me a couple of times, and I just dropped him. And ever since then, Josh got a hold of me, and he was like, hey, man, thanks for sticking up for me. And since you got involved in this, like, they're probably going to be coming after you. You should probably learn how to wrestle, too. So that's
no
how I
doubt.
got involved.
Since then, he's been training, and he's making his way to professional wrestling slowly but surely.
That's awesome.
So you're the Mark Wahlberg of the Eagles. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
I guess so.
Hell yeah.
Now,
What the fuck Teddy means.
yeah, I just
I wouldn't say yes to that.
I'd say that yes is pending. So that's actually a perfect kind of partnership too, because I had no idea you were GM over there, which is freaking dope. Because that's a perfect tag team combination right there. It's super convenient that you're in the Y and you're also in IPW, and has it been a pretty good success in terms of turnout and just general interest that's being held there?
Oh, yeah. I mean, every show grows even more each time.
That's great.
The first show we had, like, just a few people show up that weren't really wrestling fans. They just heard something was going on.
Yeah.
And then ever since the first show, it just seems like people are coming up to me throughout the night on busy nights that I'm at the bar working. They come up to me, hey, when are you guys doing the wrestling thing again? Are you going to wrestle? Like, I've only had one match before, and I was lucky enough. I don't think anybody's had as cool a debut as I had. Like, I got to team up with Josh Raymond, Alex Shelley, the Monroes. We got to go against the DTA. I don't think anybody's had as cool a debut as I had. Sure. So that was such a great time, and everybody since then has been just looking forward to my next match, and looking forward to the next shows that we're going to do at IPW.
That's awesome.
I actually, because Alex Shelley was a surprise guest in the last show, and I hadn't seen Alex in about 10 years probably.
Okay.
I think I had like a third or fourth match I'd had with him, so I'd known the cat forever. I was so excited we talked. I was like, oh man, cool. I snuck out in the crowd and actually watched the main event. Yeah, that was an amazing match. That crowd was phenomenal. Just people jumping on chairs.
Oh yeah.
You shouldn't kick him out for that though. Don't worry about that. But yeah, jumping on chairs. That crowd was having a blast, man. I was excited. It was a hell of a main event, man. I told everybody in the back afterwards. That was you guys tore it up.
Well, thanks. As long as fans don't start fisting each other, Wybar will be okay with it, right?
That's my shtick, okay?
Yeah.
No, it was awesome. If you have
Here to hear, folks, Hype is a fister.
Yeah, I was stoked because I was
That's all I'm doing today.
right. I think I had done some searching on the IPW Facebook page, and I think that's how I found somebody had uploaded a YouTube video of the final match. And I mean, it goes like 35 minutes long, and it's just the whole thing, like right off the gate. It's just high impact, the whole thing. I mean, if that's signs of things to come, I mean, I really am imploring everybody to come on out to Independence Pro Wrestling at the Y Bar tonight. Terry, who are you going up against tonight? Is there any idea who you're going to be kicking the trash out of?
Hey, listen, I won't be doing any wrestling anytime soon. I still have to get better. I'm going to be there helping out Josh as much as I can. That's my boy. I ride with him. I'm all about loyalty. So
Cool.
When he goes in there in that ladder match against Aaron O'Ryan and goes after the title, like, I'm going to be there. I'm going to do the best I can to help him win and make sure the DTA doesn't interfere.
Solid reinforcement.
Appreciate that. He's an MMA fighter, and we have Alex Weir from the Death Threat Army, who is an experienced Taekwondo stud. Like, he's really good at that competitively and performance-wise of Taekwondo. And I think those two kind of have each other's kind of number in a way. I think at some point that'll happen.
Really?
Listen, man, Taekwondo is cute and all. They teach you how to kick people and then run away from them. In MMA, they teach you how to hold people down and beat the hell out of them. So if he wants a piece of this, then maybe we can do something in the future.
I hope so.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Weren't we talking about the other day? We were talking about the transition from being an MMA fighter into wrestling.
We're always talking shit about how Vince finds the most ridiculous people to try to do it with. And
Right.
Riddle, I mean, is a freak. He's amazing. And to me, he's been like, I mean, Ronda's killing it, making all that money, but Riddle just seems seamless. Like,
Right.
there's some pro wrestling, there's some MMA. It just blends so perfectly. I was actually going to ask Terry, are you doing training right now with Josh?
Yeah, I've been training with Josh. I pretty much shelved all the MMA stuff and got over into the pro wrestling stuff. I'm going to make a full transition and see what I can do in this business.
Yeah, awesome. Are you finding yet, I mean, it's all muscle memory. Like, do you ever catch yourself, like, having to pull back from just elbowing somebody's face in?
No, if I feel like elbowing them, I'm going to do it. These are tough guys. They can get over it.
Strong style. Awesome. So, Josh, what is it like coaching then with somebody who's had all kinds of coaching in another related but different discipline?
Well, it's nice. Like, Terry has a background in wrestling, and any wrestler who has an amateur background, whether it's Dolph Ziggler or Kurt Angle, those guys tend to catch on pretty well.
Yeah.
And it seems to be pretty common for MMA fighters to do the same. Terry having a background in wrestling, it makes it a lot easier than the average person who's never had like a background in competitive combat sports of any type.
Yeah. Have you found it's been a pretty easy transition, Terry? Is it something? I mean, obviously you're learning. You said yourself, you got a ways to go, but you transition from MMA to professional wrestling. Is it something that you feel like you've already got a good knack for?
To me, man, it's a fight either way.
Oh yeah, I like that answer. I think it's going down tomorrow, big time. That's why we're getting front row. I'm not even messing around.
Yeah.
That's why I said we're getting front row for this.
I've been thinking, it's been years and years. Josh, I was trying to remember, did you say that you were training with Frankie the Face from way back in the day?
Yeah, back in the day, I trained with him, actually. Jimmy Shallwin at a place called Blues Gym, which is a boxing gym in Grand Rapids. And Frankie the Face as well. Frankie the Face doesn't wrestle so much anymore, but he's one of the guys who was really good and could have made that transition to WWE at some point. It was never really in the card, just never worked out.
Right.
But he was super, super good. Still is.
I was surprised when I recognized that name because I used to have some family up in the Traverse City area.
Yep.
And one night I was up there for a week and they're like, hey, there's this wrestling thing at the high school. I was like, we're in the middle of nowhere. What could that be? That's where I saw the face. Absolutely.
kidding.
Was he the one? Did he walk around like pointing to his face?
That's the guy.
Yeah, totally.
The Jimmy Shallwin fella, Frankie the Face uses one finger. Jimmy Shallwin uses two.
Nice. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, but that's one of those things. Like you never know who you're going to see or what's going to happen when you go to those smaller shows. So it's always been my favorite.
Were you on that show?
Hidden gems.
I'm trying to think, Trevor, what year would it have been?
2007 maybe 2007, 8 range.
I don't know. Who would have run up there? I don't think so. I don't think I was on that.
It would have been south of Traverse. It probably would have been more like Bear Lake region.
Oh, that would probably be Mr. Chainsaw then. I didn't start working for them until later.
Mr. Chainsaw?
Yeah, MCPW, Mr. Chainsaw Pro Wrestling. It runs out of the Kalkaska area, actually.
Kalkaska, East Jordan, and Traverse City. They do a couple times here now.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I was wrestling there. I don't know if I was on that one or not. Mr. Josh Abercrombie at the time? No, maybe. I don't know.
Wait, is that you?
Me. I don't know. Yeah.
I looked at the Wikipedia. They didn't have any pictures, so I wasn't sure. No, I'm making fun of myself because my dumb ass sat right here.
There are pictures on Wikipedia, but that's okay.
God, I'm done. I'm done talking. Less talking, more fisting.
Yes, indeed. Well, we may or may not see that. Probably not, but probably not. But either way, it's going to be an awesome card. So who are some of the other athletes who are going to be there as well?
Well, tomorrow we have a women's match with the British Amazon Heidi Katrina. Heidi Katrina is a large, attractive, muscular woman. And she's taken on Shauna Reed. Shauna Reed works for WOW, Women of Wrestling in California.
Right on.
After our show, she flies out to California. She's also done some stuff for WWE recently. So both those women are experienced, very good wrestlers. So I'm looking forward to that match.
Awesome.
Of course, we have Jimmy Shallwin versus Jamie Cox.
Yes.
In the rubber match there. And then we also have myself versus Aaron Ryan in the ladder match main event. We have a few other matches on the card. I don't want to spoil too much yet.
Right.
But, we'll see what goes on.
That's exciting. So it's going to be at the Y Bar. Like I said, it's going down tonight, Kalamazoo, at the Y Bar, 5:30. Now, if $30, that gets you, like Josh said, it gets you a front row seat to the show. You also get an early entry meet and greet with the wrestlers as well. You're going to get a poster, the opportunity to get it signed by the wrestlers, and
Get your selfie on.
Yeah, get your selfie on. Make all your friends jealous. Cry the salty tears of saltiness. And even $20, you're getting front row, which is exactly what we're doing. Me, T, Davison, we're going to be there. We've got some friends that are coming too as well.
The wild thing too about front row at independent shows, it's not 5 feet and then a railing and then a couple feet in your seat. You're right there, man. You might catch
catch someone in your lap.
You might catch something. A few folks caught Jamie Cox. You watch on that YouTube video of the last show. Some folks caught Jamie Cox on the top rope, man.
Right.
They didn't get to keep him. It's not like baseball. You don't get to keep a souvenir, but
right, exactly.
You don't really want to keep him, to be honest.
Well, and again, you want to if something like that happens, you want to protect these dudes. Okay, the last thing, and I'm just putting this out there, the last thing you want to do is mess with somebody in the middle of a match, unless you want to become part of it, which you probably don't want. So, and then. Yeah, or Y Bar management will come from behind with a rear chokehold, and you'll be sleeping with the fishes. See?
Who brought up all this fisting nonsense? I know, right? But it's offensive. Since we're on the topic of fist, no, I'm just kidding. Question for all three of you guys. It seems I was
gonna punch a guy. Okay, that's will start. I'd be cute about saying I was gonna punch.
You need to be a lot more specific in this room. I'm curious because it seems like it kind of just depends on the night and on the fed and on the guy, but kind of making your own call if somebody in the front row has said too much or done too much. I'm sure each of you has at least a story of having to handle a little bit of business with an overly handsy audience member.
You want to go first?
You go first.
All right. Let's see. I can go over a couple. Typically, the rule is they're fine as long as they don't get in the ring. When they get in the ring, it's kind of free game. You feel threatened at that point because they're getting in the ring. They're literally trying to fight you. Once that happens, it's like, okay, I need to protect myself. And let's see. There's been a couple times where things have happened. One of my favorite ones is I had a three-way, myself, Nate Matson, and Jimmy Jacobs. We were in Coldwater, Michigan. And on this show, Jimmy Jacobs was the villain, per se, and I was the good guy, the hero, and Nate Matson was something. Anyhow, it was me and Jimmy Jacobs out there. And Jimmy Jacobs, being the boisterous hill that he was talking to some guy. This guy gets in the ring, or talking to him on the outside first. He's like, come on, I dare you. And then guy's like, no, I'm not going to do it. And he's like, yeah, that's what I thought. The guy's like, cusses at him, and he's like, you know what, I'm going to do it. Guy gets in the ring. As soon as he gets in the ring, Jimmy leans back, or just pulls his arm back, and just slaps the piss out of this guy.
Holy shit.
This guy gets slapped so hard that he just turns around and gets out of the ring and sits back down.
Like a second break where he just stares.
Yeah.
Right out of the ring.
Never mind.
It would just slap, lets it register, and gets out.
You're just going to stand there and reflect, huh?
Yeah, it was so strange. Like, usually, they get hit and they just go down, or somebody comes out and pulls them out. This guy, on his own free will, gets hit, thinks, yeah, I should probably get out. And just bounces.
That's fucking awesome.
You know what I like about that story is, not that it matters. I mean, tough is tough, but back in the day, I didn't realize, like, when I bumped into Jimmy Jacobs by accident at Target.
Sure.
And I just didn't think it was him because I was so much taller than him. And I'm like, well, it's a professional wrestler, But so I saw him and this girl, and I was like, that looks a lot like Jimmy Jacobs, but I'm at Target in Kalamazoo. Da-da-da-da-da.
Did the girl look like you?
I don't remember. Maybe. She was shortish.
No, maybe not then.
But he said, yeah, that's me on that magazine. And I was kind of like creepily eavesdropping. And I'm like, holy fuck. He's pointing to a wrestling magazine he's on. But anyway, it was just kind of one of those interesting things you don't expect to have happen.
Yeah.
So hearing that dude was somewhere bitch slapping somebody right out of the ring is like,
right?
Yeah, right on. I can totally see that.
Jimmy Jacobs used to have a taller girlfriend with dark hair and tattoos, and then Clarissa, who looks a lot like you. Yeah.
If you have his number.
Yeah. Chicago's not too far,
I'm
right?
single. No, it's really not. He's got that Vince money.
Mine was, I hope the statute of limitations have run out of mine from my end, but about 10 years ago or so.
Yeah.
This is one of your early shows, or was it not? In Coloma.
Yeah, probably 10 or 11 years ago.
Popular Electronics versus the Absolute Answer. Okay.
This is 2008.
No,
2006.
Okay, that sounds right.
How long ago? Gosh, 13.
So we had wrestled, my former partner and I had wrestled a tag team in the main event. They were local guys. We beat them up. And they were local, so I said, let's beat them up in front of their families. So we went out and really were laying into them. Just because I'm thinking, let's get mom to cry, That's a good time at the wrestling.
Well, that's good heel work.
In the middle of it, a teenager had attacked my partner. Had hit him, and my partner shoved him back. Knocked him down. So I didn't see any of it. So all I hear on the apron later in the match was like, some kid hit me. I hit him back. I'm like, okay. I didn't see who. I didn't know what. I'm like, okay, well, they're rowdy. My thing worked. Match goes on. Great match. We finish it up. As we're going out, we're walking to the back. We'd stolen the match, kept the titles, beaten the hometown guys, set up for a rematch. Near the edge, a teenager, roughly near the description he gave me, is charging me full speed. And I've got to make the quick decision: is this the kid that hit him? Do I let him have a free shot, or do I give him a free shot? Yeah. And in my wisdom, I said, "Spit at him and see what he does. That'll slow him down. If he's walking through the loogie, he's coming, and I got to throw first. If he stops, crisis averted. We're all good." So I spit, catch the kid in the shirt. He stops. Good. Well, that's the end of that. Which I shouldn't have done.
No, probably not.
But in the moment, we've been attacked, quote unquote. So I'm going to find myself in that. Made a mistake. Either way, I did that. A few minutes later, I kind of check out to look at had some pictures and DVDs for sale. I looked out to see if it kind of thinned out enough where I could go grab what was left and get out of there. And a woman's charging me full speed now. Older woman. And she's, I hate you, Hype. And again, I just cheated the hell out of my kids. It's one of their uncles. I don't know.
Right.
And I just smile real big, and she charges full speed. And there's no doubt in my mind she's throwing if she gets here. So I duck back in the curtain. Security holds her back. I'm like, okay, I have one of the guys go grab my stuff. I'm going to sneak out the back door. So I get my stuff together.
You didn't spit on her?
No. She had established what was going to happen if we got close.
I got you.
I then go to the back door to leave, and right as I get there, I hear bang, 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 bang. I'm going to kill that Hype. I'm going to kill him. And I'm leaving out all the curse words here just for the sake of politeness, but just a whole lot of curse words like, oh man, she found my escape plan. This goes on. Zach Gowen is able to calm her down by opening the door, and she goes, "Oh my God, Zach Gowen!" Which was hilarious. I snuck out the front door again now. We go out to eat at dinner. One of the other wrestlers owned a video store pizza place in town and said, hey, free food for everybody. Of course, wrestlers are going to come for free food. And as we get there, it turns out she owned the bar next door.
Oh, no.
So as I walk in, she sees me. She comes in the front door. We make eye contact. I get the look, and then she bolts outside. I'm like, oh, God, she's here. And then somebody comes up a few minutes later, like, it might have been you, Josh. Yeah, she's going to get a knife, so you want to go hide in the kitchen.
Yep. Oh, my God.
So I hung out and ate pizza with the cook. All my friends hung out and held this lady off from stabbing me. It was a fun night. So,
Good night.
Yeah, that one's going too far. I wouldn't stab the wrestlers.
You really got her.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Just believe it. We're believers. Yeah.
That's some strong fucking heat. When it follows you to the pizza joint, you know?
I'll be right back. You know what's funny to me is she owned.
for a rematch. So.
It's funny that she owned the bar or whatever.
Next door, yeah.
But then she had to leave. Oh, she was going to go over to her place to get the knife.
Yeah,
okay,
get
I
something.
got you.
She, Zach then wanted to go to the bar and told me, don't worry, I can calm her down. You know what? I'm not going to do shots with a knife in play.
Right, no doubt.
It's a little too deer hunter.
One more. So I'm wrestling in Canada, and in Canada, like different promotions, I'm a heel at one place, I'm a babyface at another. Place I was at, I can't remember the name of the promotion. Something Canadian Championship, something generic. I was only there twice, I think. But I was the villain, and while I was there, I got to do a little pre-match promo, and I'm just trying to be a heel or whatever. And some guy's been drinking because in Canada, believe it or not, they like to drink alcohol.
Oh,
Yeah, surprise.
novel thing.
Anyhow, this guy and his buddy are trying to you can tell his buddy's trying to rev him up to get in the ring and whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, this guy's going to try to do something. So I kind of focus on them. I'm like, just talking crap to this guy. I turn my back. And next thing I know, I hear some going, oh. I hear some noise. And I see this guy, he's on the apron. He's trying to climb the top rope. He's trying to climb. The average person does not know to climb ropes.
Right.
So this guy has about maybe 2-second jump on me. He has the ability to climb the rope and get me. But he doesn't know how to climb the ropes. So he's trying to figure it out. So he's trying to climb, and I'm like, I'm just going to push this guy. So he gets up and finally gets 1 foot on the middle rope, 1 foot on the top rope, and I just walk over and just push him all the way to the floor, eats shit, and goes and sits back down too.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. And his friends are laughing at him. He didn't get thrown out or anything. I just thought it was funny. But yeah, that was another fun one.
I love the fact that there's apparently some hidden part of the human psyche that if you receive exactly the right amount of public humiliation, you'll just shut up and go sit down
It's
somewhere.
so true. It really is.
I never even knew that was a
It's
thing.
like a
but
child being scolded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love the mentality of, well, I got to see who wins the main event, so I'm just going to...
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I spent money to get in here, and I guess I should just sit my dumb ass back down. It's going to be so much fun. I am so excited for this tonight. We are going to be there, front row. It's at the Y Bar in Kalamazoo. 5:30 is the early entrance if you want to get the VIP meet and greet and front row tickets. If you just want front row tickets, it starts at $20 and then GA is like $10, isn't it? When does general admission doors open for?
6 p.m.
6 p.m.
Yep.
And then bell time
7 p.m. You got it.
Mac and cheese bar.
That's right. That's right.
Let's
Terry
not forget.
T has been going absolutely bonkers for weeks about this goddamn macaroni bar. It's just like
Have you tried it?
No, and that's why we're going bonkers for it.
lactose intolerance.
For those people who don't know what it is, you just pay a little bit of money, you get a bowl of mac and cheese, and then we have like a bar with all types of meat, vegetables, sauce that you can put on it, and it's like all you can eat toppings on top of your mac and cheese.
Do you have brisket?
I don't think we have brisket, but we do have pulled pork, pulled chicken,
Slap. I'm there.
beef, chili.
I'm already there. I'm feeling every piece of that on my tongue.
You know, I was just watching that thing about Daniel Puder when he had that shoot with Angle that one night. Do you remember that when Puder got, like, he almost tapped Angle out with the Kimura lock?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I listened to a little bit of the backstory on that, and what you didn't hear up front was that they were, like, rigging these poor guys to fail. So they made them eat just like an ungodly amount, like the Michael Scott pre-running diet idea.
That
like
sucks.
ate like 5 pounds of fettuccine Alfredo. Had to drink a gallon of milk. Then they did sprints. They did stairs.
That makes me
Then they went out on the air, and Angle's like, "Who wants to go?" So they never dreamed in a million years anybody would be able to get him.
Yeah.
So when Peter did, it was just like, forget about it, and that was the end of his career.
Right.
Anyway, and it makes me think about, I hope there's nobody at the show who has too many drinks and hits the macaroni bar and has a match. You may or may not get fisted, and it results in a lot of vomiting.
I don't think you're going to have good outcome if that's how you set yourself up.
I'm just saying.
I've been involved in a few vomitous wrestling matches in my day. It's not fun for anyone involved.
No, because then you got you got to do the humble cleanup, and
Oh man,
that can't be pretty.
not on my end. I've never barfed.
Can we before we get going? I wanted to bounce back to something.
Yes.
We were talking about the Hacksaw show at Shakes a little bit later on. And pre-show, I was saying there's a whole bunch of other people I wouldn't mind seeing in that kind of a setting if it's like a stand-up comedy situation.
Yeah.
Before we have everybody go, why don't we share a couple thoughts on who we might like to see in that position? Just think about that. You could go the serious way. Like I was thinking about Paul Heyman, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can pay to go see him, talk. I think it'd be amazing to pay for like a weekend getaway with Paul Heyman. Like get an Airbnb somewhere.
Yeah.
And just talk for like 12 hours a day. Maybe get some brisket, but just like get in his head and just hear everything. That's what you could do that route. Or you could get like, the little beaver where he talks about taking the elbow drop from King Kong Bundy.
Well, he's dead. King Kong actually
Different example.
is worried that he was responsible for his early death. It was over a decade after that, but apparently there were health problems that occurred after he dropped, as Jesse the Body put it, the big kibosh on Little Beaver. Rest in peace, though. For real.
All right. Man. No, for real, though. You have to have a list. Like, who would you like to see in that kind of a setting?
If I was just going to kick it with somebody, probably Mick Foley. Because yeah, well, like that's the thing. I'm going to the Gathering of the Juggalos later on this year. Indeed. And I'm really hoping he shows up again. Like I said, one of the funniest things I've ever seen, they were doing a Legends of Wrestling thing and Mick Foley was doing commentary and Terry Funk was wrestling somebody. Terry Funk's getting double teamed and Mick Foley is like, you know what? I can't just sit. I can't take this. I got to go do something. He takes the headset off, runs down the ramp, trips, and then just gets his ass beat for like 30 seconds. And then he fucking does the humble walk back like, fuck you guys. And then he puts the headset back on and he's like, I just got the fucking shit kicked out of me. And I'm sitting here 3 a.m. laughing my ass off. And the fact that he didn't even try, he was just like, nah, you know what? I fucked up. That's not what was supposed to happen. But again, talk about a guy he just changed everything. Like, and I've always been, it's unfortunate how all the amazing things he's actually done in terms of a character and in storyline and emotion in interviews and just like the shoot interviews in the old ECW arena. The one main thing he's going to get remembered for is the Hell in the Cell match, which still, it was groundbreaking. And that basically was a big middle finger in terms of competition. Because
some people in Germany will never forget the night they had to watch this poor guy get his ear torn off of his head.
Right.
Vader match, right?
Yeah, Vader.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
He did the flip over move at the rope?
Yeah, because he said he'd like to do that, where he kind of dives in head first and then gets his neck caught in the ropes.
Yeah, but I think earlier that night, something had happened where they'd actually tightened the ropes.
Yeah, they did.
There's somebody, Ariel, who was there and asked him to tighten. Yeah. He didn't know, so he basically choked himself out and tore his ear off.
That's freaking...
See, that's the kind
sounds right.
Yeah.
That's what my guess would be. I don't know.
Right.
Just talking about him last night.
Alex Wright's a great man.
Yeah.
Yes, the fucking move.
You can't see it, but I'm doing the Alex Wright dance.
Yeah, probably Mick Foley. Just, and I really hope that guy lives as long as he can possibly live and have a comfortable life because
yeah, for sure.
He just treated himself. And it's not like the big things, yes, but when you watch just matches, he takes bumps that he didn't have to be taking. But you just wonder how the guy kept going for as long as he did because he just allowed himself to be treated like shit.
Oh, he didn't allow it. He insisted. Like, there were people saying they didn't want to do that
those
shit.
fucking hip tosses into the steps where his knees just crush against the... It's just...
his finish for the longest literally wasn't an elbow drop to the floor and then count out? Isn't that how he won his matches for the longest in WCW?
It's wild.
Big dude shattering his hip every time he does that.
Yeah, and I've heard his stand-up's just great, too. And he's, super chill now. Again, another guy who is just great at reinventing himself, but I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that, okay, you can't keep doing this. He was he was on a really destructive path. And so, yeah.
To run the risk of stomping on somebody else's grave, the other one I would like to hear from for at least 20 minutes or so, and we talked about this right before the show, how cool would it be to hear Gypsy Joe's perspective of what happened that night?
Oh, my God.
I want to hear what happened. I've seen what happened. I want to hear from that dude.
Yeah, because that was assault, heavily.
Well, yeah, it was, but my questions for him are, A, did you clear it with the bushwhackers before you stole that walk? B, had they not invented that spray-on hair thing at the time? C, why did you keep growing that fucking rat tail out? And D, why didn't you just stop when he hit you in the head that first time with that bat?
Yeah, I would have stopped at one. Just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Would have stopped at one. The folks that I'd pick to hang out with for a minute, Ayatollah of Rock and Rolla, Chris Jericho, absolutely no ifs, ands, or buts about that one. I would hang out with him. The other cat would be Mean Gene or Paul Bearer. I have a thing for the way that Paul Bearer scares the shit out of me at times. I was washing dishes a couple months ago, and I think I mentioned it to y'all at some point in time, but it was WrestleMania something or another, in which he was coming out with Kane. No, he was coming out with The Undertaker against Kane, and I didn't know that he was a part of it. I had seen it before, yes, but I completely had forgotten. And then I hear the screeching sound of Paul Bearer. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Shattered that glass that I was holding. It scared the shit out of me out of nowhere. So definitely would love to spend some time with him, but Mean Gene, he'd be on my list. I don't know, just the man. Yeah.
As a radio personality, I totally vibe with Mean Gene. Probably one of the most distinct voices in wrestling history.
T, you brought it up a bunch of weeks ago, but when I think of him, I always think of how funny it is when he was cutting that one interview, and all of a sudden the sign behind him fell from the wall. What the fuck? Ah! Yeah, it's pretty great. I love that stuff.
Oh, man. Well, let's get ready for it. Tonight, I'm freaking hyped. Independence Pro Wrestling, Macaroni Bar, Y Bar. It's going to be fucking legendary. Like I said, 6 p.m. is when the doors are. $20, that gets you a front row seat in the action. $10, general admission. Come, have some food, hang out. It's going to be freaking amazing. I'm so excited to begin this journey of Independence Pro Wrestling in Kalamazoo. We're going to be out there full force. Come kick it with us and get your tickets right now. You can get it on Facebook as well. If you're hearing this this morning or this afternoon, you can get your tickets right now off of Eventbrite. If you look up on Facebook, Independence Pro Wrestling presents High Stakes. And you can also get tickets at the door, right, Josh?
Absolutely.
They can go up there right now. We have tickets at the bar right now. If they want to go up there and get them at any time, they can go up there and get them in person.
Kick ass. Cannot wait for it. Come to High Stakes, Independence Pro Wrestling, tonight at the Y Bar in Kalamazoo. It's going to be amazing. This is the Crucial Squared Circle, and we will see you there.